So I'm gonna just say hello. This is Yaelle. I'm so glad you were able to come in. I apologize. Thank you for your patience in regards to getting all those things set up for the next one, Tuesday, Thursday. It should be very easy. Thank you for the people who've contributed to this cast, the players here. And then also please let people know that if there's any financial issues, there's now an option where you can click and register and just send love. So let's keep this as accessible to everyone as possible and continue to support the overhead as well. And so I just want to say thank you. And I'm gonna mute myself and send it over to Lindsay.
Hi, how's everyone doing? So we're so excited to have Bob and Don for another beautiful day of Gong Talk. We have a number of questions already, but if something comes up during the conversation, just to echo what Yaelle said, just write in the chat, type in your questions. If we can't get to it today, we'll do it in a future date. And what else? I think that's it, right? Good? Okay, awesome.
Am I live now? Yeah. Oh, great. Okay, welcome everybody. It's lovely to see everybody's smiley faces again. I don't know how many of you came to the last one, but we had so much fun. And we're really looking forward to carrying this on and rolling it out, moving forward and kind of getting a deeper and deeper understanding of what it is we do and sharing ideas and connecting across these kind of airwaves, so this wonderful facility that we have on the internet, which is great. I know Don's really excited about it. So for those of you who come in for the first time, I'm Bob. I think I know most of you, but I work in this similar field as Don with sound and kirtan and voice and theatre of the soul and things like that. We're going to be discussing lots and lots of subjects with invited guests. We've got some gong makers who are going to join us. Broda's going to come and join us at one point. Rolf is from Gongland. Broda from Otakon Gongs. Aidan McIntyre is going to come and join us at some point and talk. We've got Tim, who's going to come and do some Shruti work with us. So we're going to have lots of different guests coming down to share their experience, strength and hope for the future and their skills and wisdom. So it's going to be great. I can see we've got Claudio on here. Claudio's done a fantastic thing on Don's page where he talks about, and it's a question we've been asked a lot, about the difficulties and the successes of using equipment, microphones, mixers and everything else to try and do what we do across the internet. I'm just going to unmute you for a second, Claudio, and maybe you could just give us a second and tell us about what you've done there on the learning page and Don's page.
Oh, great. Thank you. And hello to everybody. And hello, Don. Hello, Bob. Hello, Yael. Hello, everybody. Just very quickly, what the first disclaimer I need to give is that I'm not a sound engineer, but basically what I reflected in that note that is available on Don's website is my own learning curve. I just completely swam into the world of audio, and I tried to reflect in those notes my own learning process and see, you know, by trial and error, which are the best ways of getting the best possible sound out of the gong in Zoom and in other platforms. And my idea is to develop this quite a bit further, because I am still learning a lot every day. So if it helps, I'm very grateful for that. And in any questions, I'm here.
Thank you, Claudio. Bye. So that's Claudio, and yes, Yaelle. Hang on, I can't unmute Yaelle.
I am muted. Okay. And just to add on to that, if there's anyone who maybe has taken Claudio's thing and moved it to somewhere else and wants to put in things, the free courses are always expanding. So feel free to exchange and add in your energy and your experience. And you can always email Claudio regarding that, or if there's some other thing that offering, we'd love to have you co-create some stuff for the training, because a lot of you are advanced gong masters in your own right. And I will just say, Bob and Dad, it's so interesting to me as a woman, all of these incredible people, guests coming on, they're all men. So that's just something to think about. So we need to like access some of these women, advanced people as well to put onto our list. So I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to make this political.
It's not intentional. Neither of us are misogynists. It's just that there aren't many female gong makers around. And we've got 2 of our guests are gong makers, but of course, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lindsay's going to do something with us as well. We discussed that, but I forgot to mention her because she's in the room with me. But yeah, absolutely. We're going to mix it up as much as possible.
So send us your topics, ladies. We want you.
Yeah, we do. We do indeed. Okay, so the way we started the last one, and I think it's really nice, is that we're going to do the universal greeting together, or the universal agreement. And Don's going to take us through the movements for that, the gestures.
Let's do it a different way.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah.
Let's do it in triplets.
In triplets.
The first one is I offer you peace, friendship, and love. And again, I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. And I offer you love. Peace, friendship, and love. Peace, friendship, and love. Peace, friendship, and love. I offer you. I hear your needs, I see your beauty. I feel your feelings. Okay, can you do it again?
Yeah.
I hear your needs, I see your beauty, I feel your feelings. I hear your needs, I see your beauty, I feel your feelings. I think that's right. I'm not used to doing it broken up. All wisdom flows from the highest source. I honor that source in you. Let us work together. Let us gong together. Let us gong together. You are my own true self. I am another yourself, and you are another myself, and I am another yourself, and you are another myself. We are one. We are one. So be it. So be it. Let it be so. We are one. Okay, you got to go back. We are one. Oh, you forgot it, didn't you? We are one. So be it. We are one. So be it. Oh, I think that's the first time we ever did it like that.
It is.
It's a good way to learn it.
It is a good way to learn. Okay, so wonderful. Don't forget, guys, use the chat. Send your questions in and we'll field them through Lindsay and Yaelle so we can ask them. We only do it like that because of the microphone thing and how hard it is just to have so many voices if we're all unmuted at the same time. It's nothing else but that. So where would you like to start this morning, Don? Where are we right now? How are we feeling?
Well, I don't know, with the questions.
You want to start with a question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. One of the questions we've had in is talking about how the gong can take us into a deep meditative practice. We just want to kind of expand that idea a little bit.
Okay,
How does gong?
Everybody, though, let's try it. everybody put in their 2 cents. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Yaelle, you'll just call out a name, turn on their microphone, and then they have to very quickly, because you know, this is always, you're on stage all the time. When you go to take your gong anywhere, then you open yourself up to ask me anything you like, and then you have to deal with answering the questions. So let's give it a try. Okay. Question?
You're talking about the intention of the gong playing, and I unmuted Alexandra Ott.
Okay.
Yeah. The question was, how does the gong take us into a deep meditative process? How do we do that? What does it do? How does it work?
I take a deep breath in and I exhale, and this is how the gong affects the system, because it goes straight into the brain waves as well, and it lowers the brain waves to alpha and theta. This is what I explain people when they come to gong baths and they want to kind of understand it with the mind.
Oh, that's a
And
good one. Yes. And do you give them a pranayama to slow down the brain?
I give them the pranayama just to
What would be a
go
good
inside.
out of the ones that you do? Which one, can you lead us in one?
Into a pranayama?
A short pranayama.
A short pranayama. Yes. So I love to show them to take, for example, the thumb,
Yes.
and just to close the right wing of the nose, and to take a deep breath in, and to take the index finger and to close the other side of the nose, and to exhale long and deep, and to inhale to the same side, and to hold the breath in, and to change again to the other side, close the other side, and exhale on the other side.
Oh, thank you. That's very good. Now, no one is allowed to use that pranayama. She was there first, okay? So if you ask to do a pranayama, you have to come up with one that's a little different. This is the good one. It's called cross hemispheric balancing. And it's one that, if you have time to do it, how long would you do it?
For myself or with people?
With the people.
Not that long, just maybe 1 minute. It's like with the MEM Gong Yoga. I just feel sometimes it's 30 seconds or it's 1.5 minutes. And I leave them, I just tell them, go on your own. And then I close the pranayama. Maybe 1.5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so everybody sees how it's going to go. Okay, next. Thank you so much. Anybody want to put in their copper pennies? Okay, so we go to the next question.
Okay. How can we connect and support communities with our gongs?
This should be very fast. Click, click. Somebody answers. Because when we're in public, somebody asks us a question like that.
I unmuted Hal. Hal, take it away, man.
Okay, Hal.
We support by playing our gongs, whether when we can in person or if we can online. I still feel myself somewhat of a novice, but being able to do the gong puja and sharing it and basically just putting the vibrations out there, I think is so important.
those vibrations are very interesting, and I think we have a question coming up, which I hope you all chime in on and give your 2 cents about it. And that is, when we play the gong live, and then we play the gong at a distance, how does the vibrations of the gong or the powers of the gong transmit through time and through space? In other words, if you have headphones on and you're listening to it, or you're listening to it through a little tin box, what is it that is transmitted through the time and space? So, a good question, yes?
So I think this was someone's question. Was it Alessandra or Alexandra?
I don't know. This wasn't.
Alessandra.
Was it Alessandra? Yeah.
I think it was similar to my question that I forwarded to Yaelle yesterday. My question was like the sound field or the gong field, how it can be transmitted from the space where we play, the vibration, you know, the fill up the space, the gong field, how that can be transmitted through the web. I mean, we know that the essence doesn't stop the intentional sankalpa. That is all important for creating your own energy that the other people, they're gonna feel on the other side. But in terms of gong field and sound field, it was my question, and as well, if the healing, the acoustic healing, the vibrational healing can only happen in acoustic per Fabian Maman, how can this be transmitted, the true healing, through the web? I know that the sound can be achieved with beautiful technology, but the healing part, how we can do that part. And there is that part, and then the third part of the question, always from Fabian Maman, the healing in the sound is in the space between the notes, overtones. And we know that going to the web, overtones are compressed, so the healing goes down. So my question is around this transmitting the true healing, not just the sound, through live broadcasting, private session, and continue to share to community, but from a point of view of healing and not just sound. Both are fine, but if somebody wants to embrace both, what we are to do.
Okay, so a nice one. All right. So anybody want to raise your hand, and then Yaelle, instead of her, she picking you out, she can go directly to you. Okay.
I want to just point something out, Don, is that we've got 25 participants. So the video of the people are on 2 different screens.
Oh.
So if you want to raise your hand, the best way to do it is going to be via chat. Just put in the chat.
All right.
I want to answer. And then that way we'll be able to immediately go to your name, if that's helpful.
Well, I'm going to just turn to cut to the chase a little bit. I'm turning to page 13.
But I'm going to raise my hand. Can I raise my hand?
Yeah, but does that mean I stop talking?
Well, it means I want to just say one thing.
Okay.
What I was going to say is my perspective on that as doing Reiki master, and also the idea of being able to send long distance healing to people. So the part of the alchemy of utilizing the gong field as well as intention, Reiki energy, those things go beyond time and space. So even kind of working with what you were talking about with the pranayama, getting really centered, setting intention is extremely powerful. And I think it's not what's better or worse, it's just different. So this idea of not having the recipient actually be there in front of your gong, it's a different experience. And I honestly think that if you're working with energy and sending intention in terms of healing, that part goes beyond the audio. I think then the sound becomes adjunctive, and it's still a great mystery. I'm
Okay,
done.
okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody else. Just say anything. We don't care what it is. Whatever comes out of you will be like a strike of a gong. Yeah.
Yeah,
Alexandra.
I
I would
unmuted
like,
Tina.
Okay, Tina.
yeah. So this is from the perspective of the Satnam Rasayan healing, which is in some way, somewhat a bit different than Reiki. But still, when we heal from a distance, so we use the neutral projected mind. And so we go with pranayama, with mantra and mudra into silence, practice to be in silence. And from this space of being silent, when you play the gong and the vibrations, then you become one with the vibrations of the gong. When you then want to heal from a distance, like if you have already an agreement with a person who has asked you for your services for healing, then you connect from that space of the silence from the with the projective neutral mind, and become one. It's like your energy bodies merge. So everything I feel, I open my space to merge with this person, and then any new sensation in my space will be from that merger, and from there I can work with the vibrations of the gong to send healing.
So now, thank you. Anybody else? Feel free, because that's the excitement of this, to be, when we go to gong, is like being spontaneous and become channels. So.
Okay. Maybe I've got a question that I can drop in from some of the questions that people have sent in.
Okay.
Somebody was saying that, do you have an experience of playing a gong or the gong out in nature somewhere that was kind of profound? For example, playing near a waterfall. I mean, what are the benefits of kind of taking your gong outside?
Okay, anybody want to share? It's interesting, isn't it? How I'm still stuck on the first question, and now we have a second question. So I have to let that one go. I wanted to tell you about this before, which is in this page here about the cities of the gongs, or the attainments of consciousness that you get from the gong. All of those cities, those powers, those experiences are listed here. And that as we do our gonging for people, because we're going into no space and no time, that we're able to be anywhere you think is where it is. So when we put somebody's face, let's say on the center of the gong, and we're sending them healing, the mere act of out of space and out of time, looking into the eyes of the person in the photograph to send them the gong vibration, does not take time to get there. As soon as you do it, it's already there. So I just wanted you, when you review your books of the yogic attainments with planetary relationships, to look at that and think about all of these experiences are happening with the people, or some of them are.
And which book are you referring to, Don?
The Gongs of the Solar System book.
The Gongs of the Solar System.
Just wanted to throw that in because it gives you an idea of the magic of the gong and how experience these attainments during the gong experience are okay. It's only whenever you as a yogi develop these certain things of clairvoyance and etc., and then you begin to use them through our own projected egos, that it becomes a little tricky. So, but they happen naturally to people without them even know it. Divine hearing, etc. Complete satisfaction. Oh, it's amazing.
Okay. So let's just go back to the initial seed of that question then, is, you know, remote healing with the gong. Someone's microphone. Let's just talk a little bit more about that. Gonging from a distance. How is it possible to promote healing with a gong over long distances? Don.
Who's that talking?
I don't know. Someone's got their microphone unmuted.
Oh, yes. Could you? All right.
We don't know who it is.
You know, there's a saying that we called 1,000 angels sit on the head of a pin.
Mm-hmm.
That can mean many things, but to me, in this moment, it means that all potentiality is there in the moment of the moment of the moment. And that what the gong does is it widens out that moment so it becomes a gateway. We call it entering the gateway. And there it's going to get suspended in eternity. So this phenomena happens when we play the gong. So anything, if you drop in a shruti at that time, or a thought, or a direction, or anything in that moment of time, everything's on suspense. So at that time, the programming can change. So it's called fullness of sound, and then the fullness of emptiness.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this in the first one on Tuesday. For me, it's about intention. You know, it's about what your intention is when you set out to play, and one of the processes of being in this practice is that there's a gentle unfolding that happens, a kind of loving tenderness that unfolds people, the player and the receiver, as we put our intention through the gong, as we channel it through and send it out. And although the sound for me is important, it's lovely to be in a gong bath and feel the overtones and the undertones and the rumbling of the deep gongs. I also receive just as much from somebody who's sending it on the quantum field to me, wherever I am, and I do feel it. So for me, it's just as important that the intention is clear, and that the gentle unfolding and the opening of the heart and the love that's coming through is focused. And
it's almost like between the father and the daughter, that you're already there. There is no place to go.
It is
always in your heart. So this idea of this small spot in the heart of your heart, where we keep everybody there, that's the gong of the heart. And so we can use the gong for magical purposes, you would say. But what is gong magic? What does it mean to you?
I mean, it's gong. I mean, for me, it's in a completely different space. It's in a quantum space. You know, like you just said, you're there all the time. These things are happening continuously all the time. It's just what part of it we choose to step into or tune into at any given moment. That every opportunity is available every second, every moment of every millisecond. You know, all gates are open. It's just, and that's gong magic. You know, where do I choose to go with it? Because the potential is infinite.
Yeah, the gong theater of the world. Everybody, all of us are little strutting on the stage of the great gong theater.
We are.
As we play our gongs, hopefully not strutting, but we're doing it without ego, that the healing that takes place, or the making whole of pulling together, yoking together those parts of us that are fragmented. The gong does a fantastic job of that, of delivering its wholeness over to the player, to the listener. And it's the making of the whole that causes the innate intelligence to heal the body as have the freedom to heal the body without interference.
Mhm. Anybody else have any experience of that? How do we feel about that? I mean, if you just kind of raise your hand, I'll bring someone in if I can. Oh, let me go. Alexandra. Oh, yeah, I can see your hand up.
Yes. I started long distance gonging from the first Sunday when there was a lockdown in Germany. I just had this deep intention to do that, and I really feel that if I'm focused on it and so deeply believe it, I can really transmit and send it to my community that they also start to come into long distance healing, because we cannot meet. I cannot offer gong baths at the moment, and I really feel that it's now the time for us to step into this field in order to stand strong for it and just to just try it out. And I got testimonials from listeners and participants, and it's really amazing, you know. So I
Yeah.
really feel that this is like morphogenetic field we are extending at the moment, and I will continue this.
Well, one thing about the virus is that it's forcing us to think about and talk about and share things that we wouldn't have talked about or didn't think was so important. But telepathic resonance, that venue that we use, is how we transmit healing electronically now, because we can't go and visit, we can't have large groups of people. Everything that we did previously suddenly was totally changed in our world today. So when we re-enter the world, we're entering a new world. We've crossed the line, so to speak. So one of the things is that we are awakening each of the gong players now, the siddhi called telepathic resonance. We get bathed by it all the time. It's like, oh, but now all of a sudden that siddhi or that power can now be expressed over a distance. So healing at a distance now with gong players everywhere, I think is important. We do it, you know, in the pujas, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We'll go into the all-night puja and we'll place the photograph or the hair or something to remind us about someone special that we want to receive the direct transmission of the gong back to. So I think it's very important to think, although you can do it just as Bob says, visualizing the person, that even as you think about that person, that here at this new projection point of the Guru Angel Point, that person receives the healing without a lapse of time.
Yeah. Some of the chat that we're seeing here also is that, you know, if you've got someone who on the other end, you're working with a client, I think it does make a difference to wear headphones as well. You seem to receive more of the sound in a fuller feeling with especially a good pair of headphones, usually over-the-ear headphones, because they've got a bigger bass speaker in them, so you can get a more frequency received, which can add to the experience. So I think that's a good observation.
Take advantage of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we touched on it on Tuesday, and it's been mentioned in the chat as well that what we're doing now, it seems, as gong players and gong therapists and healers and world healers, is that we're stepping into the quantum field in a more open, direct way, where it seems to be part, or it is part of the unfolding and the understanding of what we do, is that it's quantum, you know, it's instantaneous, and it works on the same rules as quantum entanglement, that all matter is responding to each other. Every atom's responding to every atom instantaneously at every moment in time. It's a huge subject, you know, and there have been many books written on quantum entanglement and string theory and, you know, such like. But I think it's our time as we step into that now to take our place in that, and kind of, I don't know if I should say this, but not be ashamed of that fact that we're stepping into it. You know, that we're not qualified or something in what we do. You know, I'm not a quantum physicist, but actually what I'm doing is on the quantum scale. It's on that same level. What do you think about that, Don?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And it's, you know, I was thinking about if you go to somebody's house, I always look around to see where they have their family photos. And in some places you go, they have all of their relatives, their blood, on the altar there. And I always go and I look at all of the aunts and uncles and the ancestors that are there at the altar in every home that collects photos like that. And we used to do this all the time, in that we would put the photos, we'd say, everybody bring a photo of somebody that's really close to you and place it on the altar, or even a, you know, something to remind you of them. So this goes back to the kahunas, where we take the Aka body of the person, and that Aka body is beyond space and time. It's really the, what we call the life etheric body of the person, and place them there so that we use that as a venue or medium in order to create the here and now with whom we are, our hearts are relating to at the moment. And I look around my hotel room here and I say, you know, Don, you don't have any altar here. Then I realize that my desk is an altar. And everything that I think about and do is like an aura built around my computer. It's like stepping into a space, inner space capsule, as we are now talking to each other, without, beyond the speed of sound and light. And they just found out, of course, that sound can travel faster than the speed of light. That's an interesting thing.
Tell us about that.
Well, you know, the light is traveling us from a far distance, from many zillions and zillions and, you know, unheard of mileage away. There's no way that you can reach it. But in that light comes all the data or the information of where that source of that light comes from. And it's in the here and now with us, although it has and is traveling zillions of miles in the now to reach us. So this ability to relate to the infinite allows us to relate to the finite as well. That now that we live in has no speed limit.
Okay. Dana, you said you'd like to say something. I'm just going to unmute you. There you are.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I have internet problems, so I'm having to go back and forth to get connected. But yeah, talking about being connected to the infinite always. Whenever I do live gong baths, I'm always doing long distance at the same time, because my prerequisite to the presentation always includes some degree of healing for all of humanity. So I include them into the gong bath. And where I'm located physically, because I know of how far the sound frequencies resonate out. I live about a block from a hospital. So when I play at home, I'm always focusing on the wards over there that need healing as well. So I'm trying to always do a broader inclusiveness for the abilities that the gongs possess. So I just wanted to share that.
That's nice. I think it's always nice to offer something up to those who need it, because if the receptacle's there, the sound will find its way in where it's needed.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jill, you put your hand up. Thank you, Dana.
Yeah.
Jill?
Did you say Jill?
Yes.
Oh, right, sorry. Yeah, I put my hand up a while ago when we were talking about, you know, how do you get across the gong over the internet? And that, this is something I struggled with. And I just wanted to add, I think somebody commented the same. I actually draw the Reiki symbols on the gong, and I imagine white light going out the gong, and I sort of do it like a remote healing that way as well.
Okay, lovely.
On that part.
I think, Lindsay, you could chip in there with some of that.
With doing Reiki.
Yep. And the symbols.
Yeah, I do. So do like trance healing and a bit of channeling. So I connect with spirit, I connect with the higher self of the recipient, I connect with their guides and angels. And I kind of go into a very light altered state. So when I'm doing that, it's like a more of like the playing is flowing through me rather than from me. And so I try to get out of the way and become as passive as possible during the experience. So it's like a different level of intuitive gong playing, and it kind of combines like my mediumship and the Reiki and the trance healing. So that's been my experience.
Lovely. John?
Yes.
What we were just talking about then, with the way that we've had two conversations around Reiki, and one of what Lindsay said there, she mentioned this idea of getting out of the way. It's quite an interesting concept, because we talk about that quite a bit, about getting out of the way and allowing it to flow. This idea of Turiya.
You want me to say something?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right. Well, you know, the last time we met, there is a continuity here in this chain, this prayer chain that we're using. But remember, we talked about this mudra here. Everybody can see. This is perhaps the most famous mudra of all. And we use it with Reiki, of course, because the 8th chakra is here. This chakra here is what we send out, the pranic ray that comes out of the gong, comes out of the gong of the palm as well. So this that comes through doesn't need to go through time and space. It's like what it is. And if you hear the what is at the same time, then it is, so be it. So this is our projecting hand. And that's the first one. And we use it, don't we? It means, don't worry about me. I'm not going to hit you. I have my hand up at peace. This is the hand we call the hand of Maitreya, or let's put it this way, of loving kindness and holistic resonance, the hand of that. So we have that, and we also use both hands. But when we're playing the gong, of course, we're playing with one hand sometimes. And the other hand, we must realize, is the gong as well. Instead of leaving it at your side, dangling, remember to take that hand. We do this as well, don't we, Bob, with the shruti box, when we're shruting with one hand. The other hand is active. It isn't like holding in the lap. In other words, we use all the power of our command. So this hand is very important, the one hand clapping hand, like that. And the other hand that we talked about last time, and it's good to reiterate it because you can use these while you're gonging in public, or you're gonging in a yoga class. And the other one we had was we call it the Shukri Mudra. You can see it, maybe not. I can't, with all this taka going on, where is it? Well, somewhere. There it is. And this is so important to us as well because we put this particular mudra over at the high point in the body, the 1.618033989, or we hope it is, our navel point. So that we connect this hand here up with the second heart at the pulse center of the navel to do. So we begin to work with the energies that are invisible almost to most people. They're not aware of them. So the gong player is in an altered state where they become a projection of the consciousness of the gong consciousness out to the public. And all that we've got to do is to explore the many different ways, the expressions, the many different ways that this force can come out into the public. We call it, it's all gong theater. The whole world is a gong theater.
Mm. Yeah, it's a lovely, I don't want to call it a concept. It's a lovely thing. It's a lovely idea, a way of being, an intention. And I think you talk about it a lot, Don, this one Gong Master, you know, this unification of us all trying to move away from this separateness and thinking of us as one thing, one
Let's
Gong
think
Master.
a little bit about how we approach. Most of you are gong players, are you not?
Mm-hmm.
So how you approach is as important in tantric yoga as how you leave a situation. And in the middle has got a lot to live up to between these two bookends. So approaching the healing event. This, I think, and everybody has their own way. They bring their own chi to it. I think that this is something that we could talk about just in what are the different ways that we can approach the moment in which we all jump into the ocean of the gong. What is that type of thing? And the ability, some of us now over the years, we begin to say the same thing over and over and over again. So it's nice to hear other people's preamble to their event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lon. Lon's raised her hand, but I can't see her. Can anyone help me and unmute Lon?
I can.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually raised my hand about the question before this, but I get great. No, it was about playing in nature, and but I can connect it to this question as well because I often play my gongs in nature, and I feel that I connect deeper with playing for people online when I play in nature, and especially I feel that I get through much better to people who are not used to listen to the gongs, who are really new to the gong playing. So combining my playing with being in the nature, and you can hear the wind and the birds and all the sounds. And for me, playing the gongs online is not different from when I play it in person. I sit down and I connect with my inner self and project but I transmit what I feel is right in the moment and what I want to send out into the world. And it's no matter about if people listen to it in the moment or they listen to a recording, I get the same feedback that they can relate to it and they enjoy it. So I think that we can do a lot of work on the online now. And in that way, we can reach a lot of people who are not used to listen to the gong and does not know what it's all about, but in an easy way to get to know about it.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you, Lon. What do you think, Don? It's lovely, isn't it? It's like
the magic of tone, huh?
Yeah.
We're just beginning to realize why it's called the magic of tone. Mm-hmm. Of course, magic is just science that's unexplained, but That's what we're dealing with. We have the whole world in our hands when we have a mallet and a gong.
Yeah, it's very nice. And I think picking up on what Lon said about the environment that you place yourself in, of course, we can't all go outside and play. We can't all take our gongs outside. You know, for some of us, it's not possible. Gongs are heavy and they're big. But picking up on what you said earlier, Don, about creating a sacred space inside, about your altar and the place where you keep your gong, and the process around that is just as important. You were talking about the approach there. Yeah.
Unfortunately, my altar has become my MacBook Pro.
Yeah. Steve Jobs would like that, right?
Anybody else to say something? Questions or answers? Anything that will make up something?
Well, Martha's here, and at some point, Martha's going to come and join us. I just unmuted Martha to talk about Stonehenge, but she mentioned in the chat about a mudra that she was sharing with everybody. Hi, Martha, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. Good. Just got back from a couple gongings, so
yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little late tonight.
That's okay. We're happy to have you.
Yeah. So no, the mudra I sent was the one that Don just showed on the card. So it just explains what it is and what it does. That's all.
What do we use this for when we're playing? Like if you're leading a session with other gong players, and we have these telephonic signals that we give to each other. This one here, when somebody goes like that, immediately what it sends a telephonic message to the other gong players in the ensemble. What does that mean?
Well, you mean if it's from the mudra perspective, it's restores, heals, and balances all the doshas, but it also could sort of be like close your mouth. It depends if you're in theater or not, Don. But you know,
if you live.
That's funny.
But it balances and restores. But the mudras are very powerful, and you can do them with with mallets and two hands if you're sort of ambidextrous as well.
You can switch over, yes. I think it's important to be able to think in terms about when we're playing the gong and doing mudras with the gong is to do equal time. So that we become more like that. So, but this is a wonderful one to do. This is a wonderful one to do like this too, bringing it all together to silence so that the silent sound is a good one. If you're holding your hands up, okay, like your antennas, but then if you go to your people like this, it means we're all going to disappear into silence. So we develop a language, ensemble language, that hasn't happened yet, you know. We're waiting for it. So if somebody here goes like that in New Zealand, the person in China knows what this means too. So it's a universal a Gongmaster sign language.
So Martha, who was just chatting with us there, Yaelle, just to pick up on what you were saying earlier, is going to come and talk to us about Stonehenge and one of our meetings online here. Also, we've got we've got Ines on here. Ines is from Otakan Gongs, and at some point, I'm just going to let you say hello, Ines. And let me unmute you. Oh gosh, I can't do this. Oh, we go. I've done it. Hi, Ines. Have you muted her again?
No. Hold on. She's unmuted.
Oh, we can't hear you for some reason. No. But Ines is from Otakan Gongs. Broda and Ines are the master gong makers up there, and they'll be with us as well at some point. I don't think we can hear you, Ines. We have a sound problem, but maybe you could do this and we'll.
Where's Ines? I can't. Is she on here?
No, there's just a sound problem, but that's fine. But we're going to speak to Ines at some point.
I see you now. Oh, hello.
Okay.
Oh, but
Yeah.
can she speak?
No, we've got a sound problem, but that's the wonders of the internet, you know. We're going to speak to Ines and Broda, and one of our sessions as a guest speaker to talk to us about the creation of gongs, how they're made, what the process is, the metals and everything else that's wonderful around that. So I'm really looking forward to that. However, Don, as happens in the quantum field on a linear fashion, we're running out of time. We have 4 minutes left to maybe just take us out with an affirmation and a little shruti song for us all to leave and take into the day with us, and a kind of a thought for the day. What do you think?
Could you do that for us?
Oh, okay.
I did the beginning. You could do the end. Huh?
Okay, all right. So we've got the mudra. The mudra for the day is this lovely one that also Martha spoke to us about balancing the doshas. And Don, you also spoke to us about that being a way to, send energy like down a tonal ray to people who need to receive it. They could be people who were laid in our gong bath or other gong players through the gong into us and back out of us, which is lovely.
Right. And you can do that. I don't know which mantra are you going to do, or affirmation?
Oh, well, I'm going to do a little affirmation, that came at the end of a poem that my daughter just recently wrote for me. And she's only 19, 20, she's 20. I forget how old my kids are, so many of them. And they, she said at the end of this wonderful poem, she said, "I am loving, I am kind, I am enough." And that was her affirmation for the day. So I thought we could maybe use that as a little shruti that we can share with each other. And just wherever you are, just open your heart and open your voice and just sing along with us very gently. I am loving. I am loving. I am loving. I am loving. I am kind. I am kind. I am enough. I am enough. I am loving, I am kind, I am enough. I am loving, I am kind, I am enough. I am loving, I am kind, I am enough. I am loving, I am kind, I am enough. I am loved, I am kind, I am enough. I am loved, I am kind, I am enough. Oh,
I am kind, I am enough.
I am enough.
I
am enough. Join me in Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Shanti, Om. Shanti, Shanti, Om. Shanti, Shanti, Om.
Peace, peace, peace. Thank you, Don.
Oh, thank you, Bob. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Yaelle. Thank you, Lindsay.
I'm going to work on getting this recording up so that it can be rehashed or reused. And we look forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday.
Yes, we did record it, so I will get that to you. Awesome.
Send in your questions.